Everybody, what's going on? So I'm sure you guys heard me talking about my fuel gauge wasn't working right, and that I've had to take the float out because it was bent, and I couldn't understand why it was bent. I was thinking, wow, fuel is bending that? I've never seen one do that before. So I was bewildered, and I took it apart, and I rigged something up here. I put a screw in it, and a screw down there, and then tied a wire across there from there to there to hold that, to keep it from bending, because it was bending. And it did it again, but this time it broke the wire, and I'm like, how in the world did that happen? And when I pulled it out, the float wasn't on it. It's like, what's going on? And back when I was having problems with my fuel getting to the AP unit, when I pulled this out, remember, I don't know if some of you remember, but when I pulled that out, which is the fuel lines and the return line that goes down in the tank, when I pulled it out, it was all bent up, and that's the reason why it wouldn't get any fuel, because the lines were completely bent up and they weren't in the fuel. Or when you'd get down to half a tank or so, they wouldn't get any fuel. So I decided to pull that sending unit there, and noticed the float was off of it, and so I'm like, what in the world is causing all that? Well, I started fishing for the float, and while I was fishing for the float with my fifth wheel puller release, I don't know if you guys know what this is, but when the trailer's on here, when the trailer is on the truck, you can't really reach in there and grab that. So what this does is it reaches in there and pulls the release. That's what this is for, and I always take it with me wherever I go. So anyway, so I had it down in the tank, sloshing around, trying to get the float, because the float should be floating, right? That's what it's called, float. It should be floating. So I ran into something pretty heavy down in there, and I'm thinking, what in the world could be so heavy inside that tank? I'm just like, what is down there? And whatever it was, I knew it. I felt it moving, and so I got feels like a half a tank, maybe 3/4 of a tank of fuel, so I can't see down in there really good. And so needless to say, I fished it up, and what I found was that this tank had a baffle in it, and the baffle had broke loose. And of course the baffle is exactly as the end of that tank, and so it's been sloshing around in there with the fuel, wreaking havoc on the fuel sending unit, just beating the crap out of it, beating the crap out of them lines back there that go to the APU unit, and knocked the float off of this dude here. And so I'm like, what in the world, how in the world, what am I gonna do about that freaking thing? I mean, as long as that thing is in there sloshing around, I won't ever be able to put a fuel sending unit in there. That thing's gonna tear it up all the time. So I noticed that there was a hole in it, and so what I did is I fished it up here where I got a hole in it, and I got a clothes hanger, and I have got it contained to the chain that goes to the fuel cap. And so it's going to be moving around, but it's not going to be going all up and down, back and forth in that tank. Plus I still got enough room where I can get fuel in there. So I have it contained on the chain to the fuel cap. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? So we got answers to our questions. How in the world is that stuff getting bent up? Now it's like, I've never seen that happen. I've never seen fuel do that before. But now we know it wasn't fuel, and that it was I got neighbors moving out over there. The woman that lived there just died. She just was 104, I think, and her daughter is living there. Been living there with her, and she's in her 90s, I think, or 80s. Yeah, in her 80s, and so the place is too big, so she's getting ready to move out and go live with her son. And so for the first time in 100 years, this place is going to be empty. Over 100 years. I think the Mennonites probably getting it, but anywho. So anyway, I was like, man, I had no idea what I was going to do. So, and I looked at the other tank, and it doesn't have a hole in the top to put a fuel sending unit, because that was the first thing I thought. Just move the sending unit over there, but didn't have a hole. So I prayed about it, and the idea that I was able to come up with was trying to contain it. So I got it fished up over here, and got a clothes hanger, and twisted it up, shaped it, and hooked it to the fuel cap chain. And I know it's not where it's supposed to be, but at least it isn't flying from one side of the tank to the other, just busting everything up that it hits, like that fuel sending unit. And I'm not sure if it's going to keep from hitting the fuel sending unit or not, but at least I got it contained where it's not all over the tank. And so I don't know. So that's where I'm at right now, trying to figure out. First, I got to try to fish out that float. That's next. And then when I fish out the float, then I got to figure out if I can get the sending unit down in there without this baffle being float over there and bend it up some more. So this sending unit only goes one way, and so maybe I can refit it where it will go where the float's going in the opposite direction, where the maniac floating baffle in there can't reach it. So I don't know. So oh, and by the way, guys, reason why I didn't make a video on putting that valve on the trailer, which I did get one and got it on there, and hooked up the air and soaked everything up, and there were a few more leaks on the quick release valves, and I was able to solve that issue without too many problems. And so there's no more air leaks on the trailer, so we're good to go there. We got the hub windows all put back on, and so that's all taken care of. The trailer's all ready to go. I have to check the air pressures before I leave out. And then they'll have to solve this problem here. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to solve it, but I'll definitely let you guys in on it as soon as I figure it out. You guys have a great lunch or a great day. This is Wednesday. Have a great Wednesday. God bless, and later.